want to share with you just a few tips on adding the body text into your poster. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and go up here and choose the text box and go ahead and add a new one down here. We're going to use the guides, and these guides I'd put in, they were 1/2 inch basically. There's a 1/2 inch margin, and when we zoom in you'll see this. But I'll go ahead and put in a little base text, a little bit of basic information there in the text, and then we'll go ahead and change this to where it'll have a good spacing and also the right size. With the body text, I'm going to go ahead and go with a size 28. That way you can go down to size 24, maybe if you indent for bullets or whatever, but 24 is the smallest you need to go. Now I'm going to change the spacing here, so I'm going to go to Format. I'm going to go to Multiple, and basically to get a 1 1/4 spacing, I'm going to go here, or actually go to exactly, and change this to 35, because that would be 28 plus 1/4. And so that way when we start to type, we're going to end up having a good spacing where it's not single spaced, but also it's not double spaced or 1 1/2. So this will look professional, and it will keep us from having too much text on the poster, which is definitely a critical piece. Now we're just going to take and duplicate this box by holding down Option on a Mac or Alt on a Windows machine, and then just dragging and holding Shift at the same time to keep it in that same plane. Now we got the text the way that we want it there. Let's go ahead and put some up here. But one thing I want to be sure that you notice is we haven't set up yet the guides. So I'm going to duplicate this guide. But before I do that, I want to see where the placing is on this. So we're going to duplicate this guide and come 0.5, a 1/2 inch inside of it. And then we're going to do the same thing over on the right side too. We're going to add a guide also that would be coming a 1/2 inch too. So we're going to see where the placing is. That's 9 inches there. So we're going to go over here and put in one at 8 1/2 inches. And that's at 8.5. And one other thing I want you to notice is the guides for the text, I've left those black. That way you can discern the difference between the structural guides, the ones that help build the poster, and the guides actually for the text. So we use kind of orange or red, orange for the structural guides. And I call these the text guides. Now, one other piece is how to do a text wrap when you have an image. And PowerPoint doesn't have the luxury of having a true text wrap like you have in some of the desktop publisher programs. So I'm going to show you here in just a minute whenever I finish loading these. Now this one I started dragging that one over, but I didn't have the guide there, so I'm just going to move it a little bit over and get the guide where I want it. So we're going to go ahead again and go up here and see, hold down Shift just long enough to see where that is, and now we're going to duplicate a guide and pull over again a 1/2 inch. So this way we have the margin. We don't want the text to go slap all the way up there. And we know that this was the same size as the one on the other side, so we almost don't even need a guide over on the right. But we'll go right in here and put this in, and just for the heck of it, we'll go ahead and pull a guide. So we'll click and hold down just for a second. That'll tell us that we had this one at 21, so we just need this one at 20.5. And then we can now take this one and hold down Shift and Option and drag down. And again, just following basically the guides. And as you notice, I had already put the guides in at a 1/2 inch margin all the way around. There, that one looks good. So now we're just going to go back up here again, like I mentioned a minute ago, that we're going to go up here and show you when you are putting in text and you want to kind of create this wraparound type of effect, because PowerPoint doesn't offer you that. We're just going to have to simulate the kind of wraparound. So images are a critical part of your poster, and hopefully you're going to use a lot more images than you will this amount of text that I'm putting in here. Normally you wouldn't have this long, dense paragraphs like this. You would have bullets and short strips of text and abbreviated text and all. But in this case, I just want you to see that once we get here to the end, before the image itself, if we just hold down Shift and hit Enter, then we would be okay, and then it will put us down on the next line. If you hit Enter, it sometimes may give you more text, more spacing, and it won't simulate the wraparound type of a text. So if you hit enter, it may kind of create a whole new paragraph and it may jump it down. So if you hold down shift and hit enter, then you'll be okay. This should help you with your setup on your text, and good luck with it.